Welcome back to the show. Well, stylist extraordinaire Richard Kavanagh is here with a high fashion hairdo that you can do at home in, wait for it, 5 minutes. We love that. Nice to have you back on the show, Richard.
Thanks, Sarah.
And I'd also like to welcome Lauren from the agency here in Wellington. Thanks for coming on. Before we get into Lauren's hairdo, why don't we have a look at some pictures that you brought back from New York Fashion Week to show us what we're basing this hairdo on?
So the hairdo is based on this hairdo, and in fact it is exactly this hairdo. It's a little French plait twisted into a chignon.
Gorgeous.
And then what we did for this show was we accessorised the hair with these amazing, you know, the little eye masks that you put on your eyes when you go to sleep.
On the plane, for example. Yeah, I think we've got a few pictures of those coming up.
We accessorised the hair with those and some brooches which were made out of clock faces. You can see here old watch faces and clock faces stuck together to make quite
on the right, and then at
brooches.
The front you can see a frilly. That's it. That's the eye mask.
That's the eye mask. So this looked fantastic on the catwalk, but I imagine that, you know, you'd probably attract a few funny stares if you were wandering down the street with an eye mask on your head.
So you're going to modify it to make it relevant for New Zealand going out at night sort of thing?
Absolutely. We're going to talk about accessorising. I've gone and collected a few little vintage brooches that we're going to use to accessorise Lauren's hair. But first of all, we're going to start with the foundation, which is the little chignon. So I'll just turn Lauren around here, if you don't mind.
Is this something you can do yourself?
This is really easy to do yourself. Okay, so do you know how to do a French plait?
Yes.
So we start by parting the hair on one side at the front, just loosely with the fingers, and then at right corner back, which is the corner of your head at the back on the right-hand side, opposite the parting, loosely with your fingers, make a diagonal parting. Using your fingers, split that into 3 pieces, okay? So that's where our French plait starts. Now, I haven't done anything to prep Lauren's hair. I loved the way that it was all loose and flyaway, and we're just going to start plaiting that in, taking a little piece of the hair from the big section and adding it in, come over with that piece, that little piece over, take an extra piece of hair and plait that in, quite loose, leaving the flyaway bits to be flyaway. Another little piece from that big section, plait that over. Now, Sarah, I wonder if you can help me by passing me some pins. I've set up some pins and U-pins and bobby pins just there. It'd be really handy to have some of those.
You tell me which ones you want.
I certainly will do that. First of all, I'm going to need a hair tie. So once I get to the end of that, and I've left a few little pieces out, I've got a nice sideways French braid. Pretty loose, not too tidy, because this year the hair is all about just being relaxed and kind of homemade feeling. Thank you. If I can take that little hair tie. I like to use these clear plastic gliders because they're pretty much invisible once you pop them on the hair, and they're good for the hair, as opposed to using rubber bands, which can break the cuticle layer of the hair. So now I'm going to take this little tail, and I'm going to pull it all the way back across this side, keeping the plait flat and winding it underneath itself. Okay. If I can have one of those U-pins.
Big or small?
Let's have a big one to start with. Thanks. Pop that through the plait to catch it and turn it back on itself and pop it in, and I'll just take another big one, and then I'll have a couple of small ones.
If you're not confident with doing French plaits, I'm very confident because I do them on my daughter, and I used to do them in the 80s, they were big. How would you learn how to do it yourself? I could do this. Right,
so practice is a key. That's a great question. You have to practice. I think if you do it on yourself, what you do is you go over, and then you pick up a little piece of hair from the hair and add it into your plait. I think most people are reasonably comfortable with doing a basic plait. Can I have a small one, do you mind?
Yep.
You see how easily that just stays put with 2 pins.
And I like the messiness, and the great thing is it's the looseness of it too.
And I have another one of those small ones. So I've put 4 fringe pins in here, or U-pins. Now, if your hair's heavier, or it's particularly slippery, and you're finding it hard to secure with the fringe pins, then you can use a bobby pin. And
you've got to use the blonde one for the blonde hair.
Use the blonde one for the blonde hair, and you can just pop that in and hold it nice and tight. So let's talk about accessorising the back of this hair first. So you saw that in the clip we had the little clock face brooches, which were actually really big. They were around about, you know, that big. So great for the catwalk, but I've got a bunch of little brooches here. I've got 2 of these kind of vintage orchid brooches.
Where do you get these from?
Do you want to know where I got these from?
Yes.
I pinched them out of my wife's jewellery box.
Okay, everyone at home, but you can get them from a second-hand store.
You could get them from any second-hand store floating around. You'd probably pick a few of these up for $2 or $3 a piece, and simply...
You're actually broaching them into the hair.
Just broaching them into the hair, as I would if I was putting them onto a...
Brilliant.
And I'll just go through up here and add another one.
Try not to impale her.
And clip that into place. And there's 2 little brooches just sitting on there.
That is just gorgeous. Isn't that gorgeous?
So you could bejewel that if you wanted to and have a little jewelled one, depending on what you were wearing. Or you could go and we could have a little crown popped in there as well, which would be quite cute. But I quite liked the sort of subdued nature of this.
I like the way it tones with her hair. I think that's really classy. It looks fabulous.
So I'm just going to spin you around. I'm going to stand in front of you again because I'm not working with a mirror, so I can't see what we're doing here. And I'm just going to pull that down into shape and loosen that up a little bit. And as you jangle and wriggle... Now, we saw the eye masks on the girl's hair. So I'm just going to take 2 bits of black ribbon and I'm going to tie one underneath here in a little loose bow, leaving a couple of bits hanging down. I've just cut these bits to length. They are... How long is that, 1 metre?
Yeah, I would say so.
And then I'm going to take another piece. I'm going to come around on the top of the chignon and loosely tie that in a bow. This is great if your colour needs touching up, because the ribbon just detracts from
The regrowth.
the regrowth, which is a
That
nice way of saying it.
is gorgeous, Richard. You look fabulous, Lauren. What a cool hairdo. I want to try it.